Hello, hello, everybody. Hello. It's your girl, Abigail, and welcome to this week's Goddess, actually, the Sovereign Divinity podcast. Yes, I do
Hey,
have
if
a
you want to
goddess
say
on here.
goddess, I'm about
Yes,
it.
exactly.
I
I
love
do
your
have an
goddess
amazing
stuff.
goddess. Oh, yeah. The listeners know that I'm always vibing and just connecting with goddesses. So it's no surprise that the goddess name is just like, yeah, hey, by the way, put that to the forefront. So yes, this week I have an amazing goddess here, and I can't wait for you to hear about her story, about how she stepped into her superpower with light language and light codes, and just her journey, and hear her share her light too with you. So let me introduce her real quick, and then we'll bring her in. Samantha Bearden. She is a star shaman. Just take that in for a second. Star shaman. She's incredible. She's the creatrix of the DNA activation and restructure method, as well as the Abundance Flash Mob Facebook group, which if you're on Facebook and you're not in there, you better get your booty in there. Seriously, I love that group. She is, how do you say that? Iconoclast?
Oh
Did I say
yeah,
that
the
right?
iconoclast.
That is
Are
so
we
cool.
are we able to cuss on here? Are we gonna get muted if we do?
Girl, be yourself. You're not getting
Okay.
muted. Be yourself. Actually,
uh,
here, do this. How about you? You tell us who you are. Tell me who you are.
oh,
Because
but
I just want to
I wrote
dive
it
into the
so well
conversation.
though.
Okay, I can read it still.
Yeah, read it.
Okay, let me do that. Okay.
Okay.
So let's see here. She is an iconoclast inspired to dismantle archaic, outdated, disempowering systems and beliefs by working with visionaries, coaches, mentors, healers, and creatives to unleash their game changing jam on the world. Samantha is the go to healer for DNA activation with her sacred DNA restructure method, which is, oh my gosh, I've heard so much about this process here, this program. Oh my gosh. She helps humanity empower themselves, up level the abundance game so they can make a bigger impact and change more lives with their work. As a shaman, using her Native American ancestry combined with the New Orleans, Louisiana roots, she taps into galactic and angelic collections to help her client family bring to life and utilize their unique talents to better humanity. She believes she believes everyone should live a life they love. You are right. This is pretty amazing right here. It
Right?
basically, yeah, you were right. Like I just love your name, it just everything is like, yes, it just narrows it down to exactly who you are and what you bring to the world. Welcome, Samantha.
Thank you. And look, it took me a minute to get all that together. So I was like, as you were reading it, I was like, yeah, this is way better than anything I could say live. But thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for putting this together. I am so excited for this series. I actually love everything that you do. You know, I love your goddess stuff. That's why when you started out with that, I'm like, word up. So I want to honor you and thank you for who you are in the world and giving all of us this platform to share our gifts and, you know, what we're up to help others to bring forth more of themselves to the world too. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And I've been following you for a while. Like you were the first person that I met who also talked about DNA activation in a way that was really true. There's so many out there that talks about DNA activation. It's like you don't even know what you're talking about. Like what, and you're handling the human genome, the spiritual. No. And when I met you, it's like, yes, like she gets it. Like I was so excited. She gets
Thank
it.
you.
So I'm really, really excited. So
I
let's
feel the
dive
same way
in.
about you.
So let's dive in. Let's start with this light language and light codes. How did it begin for you?
Okay, well, I'm sure like everybody, I mean, as a child, you start talking in languages that nobody understands, or I did. I mean, and I know a lot
Yes.
of people who had, we were
Yes.
like talking, so, and I remember, specifically as a child, like making these recordings, like with a cassette player and just like talking into the recording because that's what was coming through. And also just feeling at the time like this angelic presence with me. I wish I still had those tapes. I lost all my stuff in
Wow.
Hurricane Katrina, but I do have that memory, and then as we get older, as I got older, that just kind of maybe would come through for me, on a personal level, not so much a sharing kind of way. And then when I started working with the DNA, and it started to come through even more because it is an amazing way to activate and restructure the DNA using light language.
Yes.
It's one of the best ways. I mean, I use it all the time. I mean, I bring it through all the time. I speak it, all the time. I speak it into my candles that I make, into my
Yes.
plants, into like, so I bring it through all the time now, but it mainly came up for me to share, that's why I created the course, which is very scary for me to create a light language course. And this was like 2016, I think 2016, 2017 was right when I did the
Yeah.
DNA method. And because when the method showed up for me, when the DNA restructure method showed up for me, I was like, okay, how am I going to do this? How am I going to convey this to my client? Like what, how am I going to move that energy? And so, light language started coming through. And I feel like I was looking, I don't know who, someone else was, also doing light language. And I was like, oh, great. I don't feel like such a weirdo, which weird is not a bad thing. It's
Yes.
not a bad thing. And, because it's just, an interesting light language if you've never experienced it, which the people who are listening to this are, experienced in it or have experience with it or are interested in it.
Mm-hmm.
But it transcends language barriers. It is bringing through, light and color and energy through the human vessel and, out into our physical experience.
Yes.
And so it just started showing up for me. The first ascended master that I channeled was Mary Magdalene, because I was working with Mary Magdalene a lot. And I still do.
Yeah.
She's always with me. And then Mother Mary as well. And so I just started using it in that way. And then, galactic started coming through, and, the angels, and now, and then and Thoth or Toth. We say
Yes.
Toth here in New Orleans, where I'm from. We have a parade dedicated to Toth, the Mardi Gras parade.
Oh,
And
that is cool.
yeah. And and he came through hardcore to give me like the lineage, to give me the history, to give me the codes to use in light language and the work that I do.
Wow. You can hear my little one like stomping around and
I'm so
creeping on the
glad,
door.
because mine's stomping on top of my head, and I told him, don't stomp on my head, babe. And his friends are calling him through FaceTime, and I keep blipping out. I'm like, sorry.
My listeners are so used to seeing him pop in and like giggle and run off, like, oh my gosh. So I love that you mentioned that you channel Mary Magdalene, Thoth have come through. So
Isis, I'm wearing an Isis pendant. Like
of
she's,
course,
but they're all the same lineage. You already know this, Isis
yes,
and Mary Magdalene, and and other, just that lineage. And also, Native American. So Native American
yes,
chanting, like some that will come through. There's a difference between like earth, like the earth language that comes through,
yes,
and the angelic language that comes through, and then the galactic language, and then the ascended masters, like all of that. And there's a difference in, I can tell when I'm bringing light language through, that is like specifically, it's like opening the codes inside the DNA. It
yes.
sounds like that. It sounds
Ah,
like, like almost like a computer, but not, it's like, like
yes, yes. I can't hear it. Don't worry. Don't even worry.
it's incredible. I feel like yelling at my kid right now. Hold on, let me send him a telepathic message
Of course.
through my teeth.
Oh, exactly.
I told you.
Oh man, that is
Look,
so
we're still
funny.
human, right? I mean, like
Exactly.
we already know this is a special person to open themselves up to language. I tell everyone that everyone can do it. Everyone, because it's not doing it, it's just bringing it through.
Exactly.
It's just opening yourself up to it. And so my course
Yes.
that I teach, which was gifted, Thoth gifted it to me and told me specifics to do in unlocking, different areas in the throat and the heart. Like there are different components. Like, again, we're like, flipping on the switch. We're dusting off the old codes to, bring them
Yes.
through. And so all of this is in us. It's just dormant. It just needs to be awakened. And so that's what I
Yes.
teach in my course. I feel like it makes it easier for people to feel comfortable
Mm-hmm.
in speaking light language. I swear, I mean, I feel like I need to run upstairs and go like, what is going on up here? But I feel that, that is why the course was created, to help the everyday person in the privacy of their own home go through. Are you sure you can't
Here,
hear?
here, let me
Go
pause it.
through
Let me pause it. Go for it.
go through, their journey, and get familiar with, and connect with their guides, and then be comfortable in and speaking the light language and bringing it through and experiencing the magic of it.
Yes. So there's a couple of things that you mentioned that I really want to highlight. First of all, you mentioned that everyone is capable of transmitting their codes, their light codes. But you also mentioned that it takes a special person to open up to the flow of those codes to come up, because there's a vulnerability there. Like
Yeah, and then there's
for me, I've
power in
always,
that.
yeah,
There's power in that
exactly.
vulnerability. I get it. Look, you get it. I get it. Every person that is speaking a light language and bringing it through and changing
Yes.
people's lives with it, we get it. I mean, it is just up to you. I just feel like everyone can, and it's just those special people that want to open that
Yes.
part of themselves up
Yes.
to bring it through.
Oh,
It is
absolutely.
part of our DNA. It's part of our DNA. It's part of our heritage. It's part of our lineage, light lineage, before we came
Yes.
down to this planet. It's coded in us. I mean, it's just like, do you want to unlock the code or do you not? I imagine if you're listening or
Exactly.
watching this podcast, you
You
do.
want to? Oh, you're being called to this
Yeah,
time.
or you're being called to, and here is your safety net. Like, yes,
Yes,
you can. Yes, you can. And
absolutely. Oh, I'm glad that you said that.
it will help elevate and change. It will help elevate and evolve the planet.
It's so needed. And even on a personal level, because we know
Mm-hmm.
that the changes begin personally and then we're able to share it with the world. So like how in what ways do you use light language and light codes?
Okay, I use it in my DNA work. I use it when I make my candles.
Mm-hmm.
And people feel it. I just got a message from a lady. She ordered 6 candles. She was like, "Oh my gosh, I could feel it when I opened them up." And I use it in I use it all the time. I use it when I'm like cleaning, when I'm
Yes.
chanting. Just when it comes through, I
Mm-hmm.
use it to help diffuse like high energy situations. One time I was not in the middle, but kind of in the middle, because I was in this business a couple of years ago, and there was the manager that was in there, and then this lady came in, and I was in a room that was like off to the left of the manager, and I wouldn't have been able to leave without walking through the conversation they were having. And she was
Mm-hmm.
angry, and she was mad, and she wanted her money back and this and that, and he was explaining to her, that he couldn't. So there the energies that started to, the situation started to get a little itchy scratchy.
Yes.
And so
Mm-hmm.
I was stuck in the room anyway, so I just like put my hands up to the door, and I just like called it through, and I just started speaking light language, and low key but light language. And then
Mm-hmm.
both of them, their energy came to this really beautiful neutral point rather quickly. And it was lovely. It was a lovely experience. So then I walked out of the room, and I was like, bye all.
I love it.
But it is that magical. It helps plants
Yes.
grow. It's like, I mean, I use it, I bring it all the time. I bring it in all the time. And
Oh,
I've
I love
also
that.
written it and painted
Yeah.
it in some of my DNA restructuring with my clients, some of their restructure, but I do write it when it comes through. And I translate it. I can tell, what is being conveyed when it's coming
Beautiful.
through.
So in terms of that, I know just by listening to other people transmit or speak light language, I noticed that even the sounds, like it sounds different. Even in one person, it's like they start out with this sound vibration and then it switches to something else that sounds more angelic and then it switches to something that's more tribal. Is that something like for someone who's starting to step in or starting to like let it out? Is that something that everybody experiences? Like why does that happen usually?
Um, in my teaching, because I taught the course live before, I taught the light language course live twice before I made it an e-course, a go at your own pace course.
Yes.
Um, in my experience with teaching the course, it's usually one. Um, so in the course, I take you through a journey to actually retrieve your soul language. So we
Yes.
start with that because it's kind of like the foundation for
It is.
whoever, it's the foundation for whoever, for them to expand upon. And so in the, like, we'll call them dialects, but
Yes.
most people will start with like one dialect. And I say that, I'm like, and it's kind of like being a baby, because you learn to talk, and your vocabulary expands and changes, and just
Mm,
as the same as it does in light language as well. And so I feel that when these multiple, when the multiples come through, it's different, different beings, could be different messages, different tribes, different, it could be a collective that comes through, with those of us who are, doing it, or that are speaking it on a regular.
yes.
So I hope I answered your question. I
You
feel
did.
that it's one, and then you build upon it, and it's also, again, and this is what I teach in my DNA restructure method course, it's like trusting yourself. You don't doubt yourself, because one person, like you said, sounds different from the other person. Like, it's not all the same for any of us. It is the energy transmission that is coming through. It is the gift that you are sharing with the world, as you bring it forth. And it is the trusting in yourself that helps you to expand your vocabulary, let's just say.
Absolutely. I love that you said that. And I hope that our listeners, especially those of you who feel conscious about how, you sound. I know for me, there's a couple of people, what's her name? And of course, just when I'm about to talk about it, I forget her name. But when she speaks, it's like she's singing. She has the sweetest sound. And I'm like, I want to sound like that, right? So
Is
we
it
all
one of
like
the people that you interviewed?
no, she's like a key, like really like up there. What's her name? Reagan Hillier. Reagan Hillier, that's her name.
Okay.
Yeah, she's like this beautiful goddess, and it's all about, like, you can feel her codes coming through.
I
But
love
she's
it.
the people that I listen to, and her sound is like, again, it's like very galactic, but it's like goddess galactic. So it makes sense that it sounds that way. And then there's others that is like tribal, and you listen to it and you feel grounded. You feel in your body and you're like, I want to sound like that too. So we go through
Uh-huh.
that where it's like, okay, so that's their sounds. Now, how can I explore my own? And hopefully, like we all go through that, like, say, okay, what is mine? I love that your program does that. It's like, what is my
Yes.
soul language first, which is the
Mm-hmm.
foundation, and then you build upon it. Because I feel like that's
Mm-hmm.
very important. Otherwise, it
Mm-hmm.
would be so easy to just be like, well, I'm going to try to speak like her. I'm going to try to speak like this person. And then we lose touch of what really wants to come through.
And I understand that too, the art of comparison, because when we're, when you're starting out, because honestly, when I was starting out with, with my light language, there wasn't anyone that was speaking it that I knew of at the time. There are people now, and I like, I found some people like on YouTube, and, I was
Yes.
just like, okay, so this is a thing. And I'm like, that's good, you know? And, and I would be like, it's not that I wanted to sound like them, but I wanted to know just how to bring it through, which is why when
Yes.
Thoth came to me and he was like, let me tell you something. Sit down, girl. We're going to talk about this. And,
Oh, I love it.
and told me like how to, just brought through, what was going on. And, I was like, oh, okay, I get it. It's cool. Because some people, yeah, they naturally can speak it. Um, I have a friend who she prays. She calls it praying. Praying.
Wow.
Uh-huh. Praying in the spirit. And when and I
Mm.
let her pray over me, because she's like, I feel like I should pray over you. I'm like, word up, girl, do it. And so I'll sit there and listen to her,
Yes.
and I can tell, I know who she's pulling through. I know who's coming through. And then like her
Yes.
dialect will change because she feels comfortable, and also opens up in my presence to even more
Yes.
of it, because she was like, because when the first time she did it, she would whisper, and I was like, are you speaking light language? What are you doing? I can hear you, speak up, bring it out. And so when she started to bring it out even more, then her dialect, I call it dialect, but it would change throughout her praying. And she's like, this is
Ah.
new. I haven't heard of this. And I'm like, listening, and I'm like, I know where this is coming from, but I don't say anything. I'm just like,
Yes.
I'm just feeling the feels, letting her explore her, to push her boundaries in that. So
I think
push your
two things I
boundaries,
want to,
people.
yeah, two things I want to mention. I love that you mentioned that she was kind of whispering, because that's where I am right now. I noticed that it flows for me. It flows better where it sounds like I'm like whispering, and I'm in that tone. And then every now and then it'll come out loud where I can hear it. And then I would dive back into whispering where it just like goes really fast and quick. I'm like, okay, let's do this. But I love that. The other part I love
Mm-hmm.
about what you just shared is finding the support. When you feel comfortable, you can open up even more and let
Mm-hmm.
more come through. So yeah, that is so important.
And that's
Finding,
why I
yeah.
have the course, because we have a small group of people, and they, you know, we go live, or we'll share what's coming through in our dialects within the group. So there's a safe container for them to practice, you know, let's say. But I want to talk about your whispering. One of my, so she's a sacred DNA restructure method practitioner. She's a newly minted certified practitioner, and she started with me with the light language and the light language course. And she does, I'm going to get it wrong. This is going to show my age. She does ASMR. You
Oh,
know,
yes,
the,
yes, yes, yes. I know what you're talking about. Yes, yes, you got it.
she, right? Okay. So she does that. And she was doing that, and she took the light language course, and, you know, that's what she does. So she's got a microphone, you know, up in her face, and you can hear her, and she'll be like, you know, bringing it through, and then she'll go, she does all this stuff, and I'm like, yeah,
Yes,
girl, get it.
get it.
But, you know, so you know, like, everyone's different. That's what I'm saying. So explore, feel comfortable to explore this part of you. It's going to open up some magic. I promise you. You know, it's, if you're interested, obviously, if you're listening, watching this, I'm sorry, because I know that we're visible as well. Thank God I put on my makeup. And I'm like, girl, are we going to be live? Are we going to be video? But if you're, you know, if you're listening, if you're watching, you're exploring, you're open to it. This is your DNA. It's calling to you to open this aspect of yourself, and it is nothing but good. And I
I agree.
understand you know, I understand the uncertainty, or maybe a little bit of fear around it, or like afraid that people are going to make fun of you, or they're going to, you know, but I promise you, you're not the only one. And what I said to Abigail when she started this series, I was like, girl, finger on the pulse, because it is coming, this is being brought into the collective consciousness more than ever before. So trust me, when I did it
Mm-hmm.
4 years ago, 5 years ago, when, you know, no, I was the biggest weirdo ever, and then to make a course out of it, I was like, okay, well, this is what we're doing. So, you know,
Yes.
explore that, push that envelope, and let yourself expand beyond the borders of your physical body, and also the limitations of our basic language, because it feels
Some,
good when you bring it through.
yes. There was something, yeah, you can finish your thought. There was something that was coming. Oh, yes. It was about, you mentioned that you've also been feeling how it's been coming in really strongly in the collective. And the vision that was given to me when I created is that I was shown a time that we were in where humanity was speaking to each other in light language.
Yes, me
Like
too.
it's just incredible. And it was very clear. It's like we're getting there. So more and more
Yep.
people are getting activated in this so that they can start getting used to that. And we can, oh man, I have chills.
I had chills. I had chills all over my whole body. And the answer is yes, you are 100% right. That's why I said finger on the pulse, girl, because I had just gone in my group, because I have new what is being given to me now. And I haven't done new stuff like on a regular in my group for a minute. But what is being given to me now is keys. I keep hearing keys, and there are different keys to unlock these aspects within us. But one of the things that I shared in my group was like, y'all, we're in this time period. I mean, think about, you know, what's going on in social media and the media and like, you know, censorship, right? I was like, light language transcends that.
Yes.
You know, it is, and I'm like seeing like telepathic, you know, messaging going through, you know, as we're speaking, as we're channeling the light languages, we're channeling the soul languages, as we're opening up, you know, these aspects of ourselves that I don't know mortal man can deny. I mean, they can't take it from us. They can't keep us from unlocking what is already inside of us. They can't keep that from us. I mean, like, we've been held down for, you know, 150, 200,000 years. Like, I get it, but we're in a new cycle. We're in the golden age. We're in the age of Aquarius. Things are shifting very rapidly, and these antiquated, archaic ways of being are getting moved. It's not your time anymore. It's our time. It's our time to honor ourselves and bring more of ourselves out. And by that, I mean more of that divinity in you, and it connects you to higher vibrational beings. And if you know, if you don't get down with, you know, if you're like, oh, you know, there aren't any guides or gods, whatever, but it does connect you with higher vibrational beings or aspects or timelines.
Yes.
You know, light language connects you beyond this dimension.
Oh, you said it so beautifully. I just love it. Thank you for that
Coming
message.
through. It's just coming through. Seriously. Yeah. Well, Toth is here. I mean, obviously, you know, Toth is here, but also there is a collective consciousness. You know, I guess it's kind of like Abraham or other people have collective consciousness that from a higher realm that they talk to, but I was calling it my council. I was calling it my galactic council for a while. And there's also the Elohim inside of that. So it's a combination of all of these star races, these star nations that contributed to the human DNA.
Yes.
As well as this higher central sun, you know, where it all like comes down from. So there's like a consciousness there that is coming through. I'm telling you, like, all of this stuff, I'm just channeling it right now. I mean, this is what I do talk about, but you know, it's being channeled through to just share that message. You know, it's kind of like a wake up. It's a wake up message. And so the keys that are being given to me are about this evolution, us being in this time period of this new 26,000 year cycle, you know, this new, the golden age, like all of this newness, you know, it's time for us to bring this. It'll be new to some people, but to bring this through so that we can connect to our guides, and they'll help us help the planet, help ourselves, help the planet.
Yes.
Mother Earth too. She rocks. I do bring in some Gaia. I'll bring in some Gaia earthy, you know, language at times, but she's like, because she is, you know, she's gaining back her crowning glory is what is being shared with me, because she was Terra, you know. My understanding goes that she was an 8th dimensional being, entity, whatever. Okay, so when we started thinking about that's good, because other people are like but when they started thinking about you know, when the collective was like, let's create a being, you know, or let's, you know, let's put our DNA together. I'm kind of rushing through this because that's a whole nother story, girl.
Of
But
course,
Tara was the
yes.
8th dimension, and then she fell to Gaia, and then she fell to Earth. And now, you know, into the 3rd dimension, and now with our collective consciousness, along with her, you know, because we share DNA with her
Yes.
as well. Now, you know, we're rising together. So when one of us rises, we all rise.
We all
And
rise.
she is rising back. I'm getting the confirmation straight away, back to her crowning glory of Tara. So she'll be a golden Tara. That's what I'm hearing, because
Yes.
we're in the golden
Yes.
age.
Mm-hmm.
So confirmation all over my body, golden Tara. And that we are going through a lot right now, and we need to, you know, connect into like bliss. You know, we need to, I used to talk about joy, and I still do, because there's the love frequency 528 and above, and then joy is the, you know, 6 and above, and then bliss is like our, you know, it's kind of if you're going to talk dimensions, I'm hearing 9th. So like before we went through the gateway to these lower heavens and then came to Earth, we were bliss. So it's in us. You know,
Yes.
bliss is in us. It's also
Yes.
coded into our DNA, and that we need to, I hate to say need, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that either, but what we're being called to do or be is more blissful. So to
Mm-hmm.
connect in with that, you know, higher than joy feeling all of the time.
Yes.
You know,
I
we
love
have to
that.
go through love to get to joy. I always
Yes.
say that joy is love with its work boots on.
Yes.
You know, I do. And then on to bliss, which could be considered nirvana, I guess, in, you know, in some religions, or you know, just that connecting. I'm not saying like sit there, you know, and I'm just saying like connect into it and bring it into your
Yes.
experience and be like this
Yes.
walking, you know, walking meditation,
Exactly.
walking bliss.
Yes. I love that. Since you're already in the channeling zone, let's, is there a light language that would like to come through for our listeners?
Yes, I left my drink on my desk because I'm sitting on
Go
my
for it.
sofa.
Yes, go for it. Yes.
Yeah, I'll be right back. Uh-oh, FedEx is here. Here we are, living the dream. Thank you. Mm. Okay. So, I'm gonna wait for the FedEx truck to leave. I hope he's gonna leave and not waiting for me to answer the door. Earth. So let me just I'm gonna keep talking, and then it'll just come through.
Okay.
That's usually how it works out.
Okay.
So this morning, you know, I knew that I was going to have, I was going to be interviewed with you. I was going to interview with you this morning. So of course I'm really super excited. I'm excited about what you're doing and what you're up to. And I was thinking, you know, not thinking, I'm just like morning meditation, bringing it in. And that's what came through was the bliss. So this, my counsel, and I wanted to say, like, you know, it was like in the, you know, art of comparison, like everybody, like people that I'm like looking to that receive messages from a collective. They all have a name for them, and mine don't have a name. They're just like, we're your galactic council. And I'm like, word, okay, that's cool. But, you know, people have like, you know, Abraham or Seth or whatever. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Galactic Council
Yeah.
plus one. Because the one that is coming through, you know, from the higher realm, not higher realms, but so I do want to share this with you because this is coming through, that we have, so Earth is holds a specific place and energy in this cluster of galaxies around the central sun, not our sun, because we have our own sun, but we specifically are in a position in the multiverse, or, you know, with this collective of galaxies. Does that resonate with you?
Yes.
Okay. And this collection of galaxies, it's like a diamond. It forms a shape, like a sacred geometry shape. Because I'm looking at that right there. I mean, the reason that I picked this, you know, as well as the platonic solids that go around it, because of, you know, Earth and galactic energy and angelic energy and bringing it through.
Exactly.
And so this is what I see. And, you know, they're all these, and each one of these galaxies, each one of these places that are circling around the sun, the central sun, the great central sun, carry a specific key, which is why, okay, so each of these beings are giving me this key. So the first one that I'm getting is this bliss. Let's just say, because I've been like sitting with this for a few days, because, you know, on Earth and things that are happening to our planet, you know, like Schumann resonance going up, and we're being like geo bombing, you know, like with a solar flares and all of the things, you know, can really cause a ruckus in us. And also, you know, the situations of the people on Earth and the division and the duality that I get, you know, I'm getting that we are working through this duality, this experience of duality. The irony of this whole jam is that we're working on getting back to something that we already are, which is divine.
Yes.
But here we are experiencing duality. And bliss, when we connect in with bliss, I mean, just like sit with that for a minute. Bliss. You know, what does it mean to connect in, or to feel bliss? What does that mean when I say that to you? Like, close your eyes and just think, you know, feel that. Do you see something? Like, for a second I saw like walking through a field, you know, fingertips on flowers, and like, so it's this feeling, it evokes something, you know. What do you experience? Just give that a second. When you think of bliss, when you feel bliss, when you let bliss in, can you know, some of us, you know, maybe don't even understand, but it is our birthright. Bliss is coded into our DNA. And in this age that we are, just beginning a new cycle, a new age cycle, bliss is one of the keys for transforming your reality. So when you are looking for bliss, because it's not a fleeting feeling, it's not like happiness and joy. So you, like I was talking to you a minute ago, we go from love to joy and then bliss, you know, and when we connect in with the bliss, when we unlock that code, the bliss code in our DNA, and then can connect in more of it, it will change your perception. It will change what you draw into your life. It will change what you emit or put out, because we are both transmitters and receivers by our DNA. We're both transmitters and receivers of light, sound, information. We transmit and receive all of that through our DNA. So when we're transmitting and receiving bliss, what we're going to do is we'll bring in more of that into our reality. So that's how you transform your reality, is to spend more time in bliss. So I'm going to just take us through a little journey from starting at love and going in to joy, and then in to blissness. It's so funny. A friend of mine, that's funny, now I get it. A friend of mine would always tell me that you always follow your blissness, and when I was having, I would be going through things at times, I would be like, I'm not feeling my blissness. I need to get my blissness back. And so that's what made me laugh. So yes, I get it. My feeder bands are coming through. Okay. So if you can, please don't be driving, but just put your hands over your heart. Just, hold your heart like it's a little baby, right? Okay. We're going to treat ourselves like sweet little babies, because I know that a lot of times we don't, and I'm speaking from experience. So we're going to hold our heart over like a little baby, and let's just bring in this love. Mother Mary always comes through for me when we're talking love. So let's see what Mother Mary has to bring in, just to shower us with some love. Iki salanua akha asatanimian alao. Aku asa ani ana ala ati arahu ata ina. Akapa ianolo tu asasiania. Akakia tata shanana. Alaka uta in a roho hapataya hunya. Alaho hapatana hoya. Alaho hapatana hoya nimiato. Hapiala una nakiata. Alaha. Aki asan atoya asasiata mayana. Akasiata yana ialaho ato. Ikimi an asasashiata. Anama ularaha. Anama ularaha. Aniakatua sanyana ua. Adota siena niamaya. Akasa chiantanuma. Aka asi atana oya talau. Asan aya. Asan aya. Asan aya. And breathe in. Drop your shoulders a little. That's some love right there.
That was delicious. Thank you. That was so delicious. Mm.
Thank you.
So before I forget, because I'm in the zone right now, I'll be here for a while. But how do people find you? Especially, we've been talking about your course throughout the entire thing. Like, how do people find you? How do they sign up for the course? How do they get in your energy?
Well, as you said in the beginning, the first place is the Abundance Flash Mob, my group, which you are a fabulous contributor. Y'all, I'm not saying it to toot my own horn. She's in it. I mean, like, aren't all the people that are in there just amazing?
They are. It is an
Amazing group of
amazing
people.
community. Yes.
Amazing group of people. And so it is the Abundance Flash Mob on Facebook. I have my business page on Facebook as well, and that is Samantha Heals. So it's Facebook, Samantha Heals business page. I have, and that's where my courses, where you can get in touch with me. We can chat. I'm also on Telegram. I am on Instagram. I am right now in the process of really like culling my social media or any kind of platform, and I'm feeling into the energy spaces of each one, which one I want to stay in,
Yes.
and maintain relationships with. And so the first place would be just find me on Facebook, and then we can go from there. Because things are
Beautiful.
shifting. And yes, the light language
Yeah.
course, I have a course that has a Facebook group as
Hmm.
well, and it is lovely. The community is lovely. And if you're interested, please reach out to me, because I am all about it.
Beautiful. And I'll put all the links in the show notes. So don't worry about memorizing what just happened. I'll put it all so you can find it very quickly. Samantha, from my heart to yours, thank you so much for joining me on this delicious discussion. I feel like I'm still flying. Like I need to
I
ground
am
myself
too. I love
before
it.
I jump into anything else. I am like in the zone. There's a part where you were talking, and I hope you listeners, like, I wonder what you felt too. It was when you were channeling, you actually speaking before you did the light language. Like I was traveling through space, and then I had this, it feels like a tattoo that amplified my third eye and made it even more powerful. And I'm like still in that zone as we speak. So
Yeah, you
thank
got
you.
that
That was powerful.
activation.
Yes. It was
Yeah.
like, I was like, all right, let's do this. I'm really
Yes.
excited. And for you listeners, I would love to hear what was your experience listening to the channeling and then listening to the actual light language. I hope you were able to feel the frequency. Like even though she wasn't speaking light language, there was still frequency
Mm-hmm.
coming through her words. Like it was so powerful. But I want to hear from your experience. And again, Samantha, thank you for joining me. Thank you,
Thank
sister.
you. I appreciate you.
I
Bye,
appreciate
everyone. Thank
you.
you for
Bye,
watching and
everyone.
listening.
See you next time. Bye.